thought the Spurs would win this series in 6 games. It was way too bold of a prediction and too early on this San Antonio team. They're not ready. They're almost ready, but they're not ready. The way that they're careless with the ball, they pass it like they just have no problem turning it over and they can make up for it on the defensive end. They don't take care of the basketball enough. They're not fundamentally sound in all of their principles from top to bottom. They foul too much. Obviously, it's tricky when you're playing SGA and the Thunder. Shai takes 17 free throws tonight. That's tough to deal with. Part of it is he's good at manipulating the game, manipulating the refs. Part of it is, just his aggressiveness towards the basket. But it was a little bit too bold of a prediction to think San Antonio, year 3 with Wemby, first year in the postseason with all these guys, no playoff experience for anybody that's in the rotation. De'Aaron Fox has, one other playoff series under his belt, or one other playoff year under his belt in 2023 with the Kings. Nobody in the rotation has played in these big games. So even though the Thunder are injury depleted, no Jalen Williams, their second best player, second best scorer, no AJ Mitchell, their third on-ball creator, and then the struggling with Chet Holmgren, to be able to insert Jared McCain into the starting lineup, and he has 20 points tonight as a starter and his second 20-point game in the series, just speaks the volumes of Sam Presti and the depth of this Oklahoma City team to be able to have this piece. Because if he's not on the team, if they don't make that trade and they're in this situation with no Jalen Williams and no AJ Mitchell, they're probably down 3-2. I mean, he has single-handedly, carried them in some moments in this series. So credit to him. I'm a big McCain fan. But for Victor Wembanyama, I counted 13 possessions in the half court where he was involved in an action, and I was wondering, where is he making the catch? Okay, he's touching the ball 13 times. Of those 13 times, where is he catching the ball? 9 of those times he caught the ball above the free throw line and extended. How hard do you think it is to then operate from the free throw line as this long, lengthy person, and you have other length on you and strength in Isaiah Hartenstein, who is going to be physical? How hard do you think it's going to be to then get to the basket and come away with a clean look? He was 4 for 15 tonight. Do you think that was the recipe? Shout out to Jamal Crawford and Reggie Miller. Not always an easy listen, but they held that accountable for why is Wemby, throughout the whole broadcast, calling it out. Why is Wemby catching the ball so far away from the basket? Every time he did roll to the rim, something decent happened, whether he got to the free throw line or he had a bucket on a lob, made himself available. But of the 9 times that he caught the ball above the foul line, only 3 of them did it result in points. 2 buckets and 1 time he got to the foul line. It's just not going to cut it. You're playing exactly into the hand of Oklahoma City if you tell them, yeah, I'm not going down there. Nope. I'm gonna pick and pop right here. I'm gonna throw this back, and I'm gonna plant at the 3-point line. What are we doing? You're just playing into their hand schematically on the defensive end, and you're making it easy on them. Whereas if he screens and rolls hard to the basket, all of a sudden you're looking at a different project to work with down low, because now when the guards of San Antonio can get downhill and create a little bit, they have that option. They have the luxury. Or he can curl around from that dead short corner over into the, front of the restricted area. Boom, he's available again. Maybe it's a drop off for him and then a swing to the corner. There's so many different options for him down low when he gets there, versus if he's just planted out there, taking contested jump shots, allowing San Antonio to speed him, or Oklahoma City to speed him up. What good is that? What is the point? It is literally wasted possessions, especially when you have De'Aaron Fox struggling the way he was struggling. First 4 minutes of the second half, I couldn't wait for them to sub him out. He just was not good enough. He just didn't have it. He didn't have the legs. And they sub him out. He's 1 for 9. And I think it was the 8:01 mark when they took Fox out of the game. They go on a 14-2 run when he comes out over the next 2.5 minutes. 5 minutes, 39 seconds left. It's an 8-point game after being down 20. So, clearly he's hobbled, he's injured, he's dealing with something. He had a couple buckets late in the third quarter in that mid-range that were, needed, but ultimately ended up not mattering and then making any additional run off those buckets. So, deep breath, man, because I picked San Antonio in 6. I was wrong. I was too ambitious. They were never winning this series in 6 games. If they were ever going to have a chance to win it, it was going to be in 7. I do think they have a good chance of winning game 6. They've adjusted well, but there's something about ruling out the champs who have their 2-time MVP, who have the depth that they have. Clearly, Mark Dagnall is a good coach. You get 16 points out of Chet Holmgren. He only takes 9 shots. Coming into the game, the shot volume just was not there. I mean, he had 45 points on 32 total shots in 4 games coming into the night. First 2 games of the Lakers series, he had 46 points on 28 shots, I think it was. So, he was just a different player in that series than what he's been now. The intimidation factor of Victor Wembanyama, he's been little bro, but tonight he had some moments where he was looking like big bro, and he had a rolling in the first half. Jared McCain had a rolling in the second half. It's almost like them playing well can't coexist. They can't coincide with one another at the same time out there because of the way Jared McCain plays. He's not looking to come off those dribble handoffs and those screens and distribute that much at all. It's fly off a DHO or some sort of pin down or pitch back and go get a bucket. Can he curl it tight and operate in the mid range? When he operated in the mid range tonight, I actually thought that's what opened it up for him from the 3-point line, and he's special. I mean, we saw what he was doing in his rookie year with the Philadelphia 76ers before he got hurt with the torn meniscus. He was going to win Rookie of the Year the way he was playing, and he's sort of picking up where he left off after a tumultuous little ride in Philly for the games he did play before getting traded, and then not seeing action really at all in the first round versus Phoenix, picking it up and being just an unbelievable shot maker in the 10 to 12 minutes he was getting a game in the Lakers series to now being a starter in this series. Just an unbelievable piece for them to have added under the circumstances that they are in with no J-Dub, no AJ Mitchell, and an SGA that, let's be honest, hasn't played his best basketball by any stretch of imagination. He has said it himself. So it was ambitious to think the Spurs could pull this thing out in 6 games. Do I think they can win it in 7? I'll give them a puncher's chance, as everybody likes to say, but I don't think they're winning this. And honestly, I know I said I think they'll win Game 6, but I still would not be surprised if the Thunder went back to San Antonio and closed them out in 6. And it made it the type of story of we all thought the Spurs were ready, but really they weren't, and they needed another year. And I think that that's where this is headed is, hey, you had a brilliant Game 1, you steal home court advantage by winning that double overtime thriller, one of the best games we'll all ever witness. Drop 2 straight, play good in Game 4, but then the champs kind of buckle down and I think show their true colors of who they are, injuries or not. So I wouldn't be surprised if they drop Game 6. I do think they will compete and Wemby will be better, which will spark the Spurs a little bit more to force a Game 7. But Game 7 at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, the Thunder won 2 Game 7s there last year. This will be their first big test back against the wall in an elimination game. Again, if the Spurs can win, duh. And I just don't see them losing it. I don't see them losing this series, whether they win it in 6 or 7. I think that the Thunder go back to the finals and play the New York Knicks. Tonight was too telling of the immaturity that San Antonio still possesses and not being on this stage. And we wondered, when will it catch up to him? Well, Dylan Harper, I think he has something with his adductor. There's something there with one of his legs. I don't think it's a hamstring, but you can tell he's playing different. De'Aaron Fox is hobbled on the ankle. He has been, little to no impact offensively. Stephon Castle's been great. He's had so many good moments, but he's doing a lot of it by himself. Devin Vassell was great leading up to Game 5. He pretty much struggled tonight. He was scoreless in the first half. Julian Champagnie, you get a good performance from him, but then there's drop off from all these other guys. But up till Game 5 tonight, he struggled. Keldon Johnson, I thought, had some moments, but, he, again, 5 fouls. He had some really bad moments with the fouling and getting himself in some trouble. And then the Wemby thing. When you're that far away from the basket, that consistently, I can't beat a dead horse with this, but it is playing into the hand of the Thunder. Get your big ass down low and don't move. Just be available. And he just was not available in the right spots where San Antonio needed him to be available. And it worked wonders for Oklahoma City, and it worked like shit for the San Antonio Spurs. Kind of malpractice to not just ensure every time you cross half court, Wemby, if he's going to be involved in the action in some sort of ball screen, is rolling hard to the rim. Or if he's going to be involved in some sort of pin down split screen going on around that wing elbow area, that it's not being set lower on the floor so he can curl and catch right above the block. Why not? Why is he curling and catching at the free throw line? Sure, 1 dribble and 3 steps from him, he's going to get to the rim. The problem is that the work he has to do in those spots, from those spots at the free throw line, against that bigger body in Isaiah Hartenstein with help side defenders ready to chew him up and bite him, it's not working. So those elbow catches can't happen anymore. Remember, 13 times in the half court, rough count. Maybe it was 12, maybe it was 14. 13 touches in the half court. 9 of them were catches from the free throw line and beyond. The Spurs have no chance in game 6 if it's a replication of that same offensive method from the Spurs. I hate to say it. I hated to watch it. I thought it was just unbelievable that it kept happening, and he clearly didn't have it rolling on top of that. And I think mentally fatigue probably sets in. That has to be a part of why he is not going to the basket more often on the ball or off the ball. And I think that you could see he was energetic in boosting his teammates and trying to rev the crowd and get his guys going. Not rev the crowd, rev his teammates and get them going at timeouts. They showed it, or even after some careless mistakes from the guards, he's pulling them back on defense, telling them to get set. The vocal leadership was there, but the mental fatigue, I think, was pretty apparent. And I think that you can tell when Wemby is tired and when he doesn't have the same type of juice that you saw in game 1 or in game 4, when he is not getting to the basket, not even at ease, but just in general, not going there on his rolls, on his cuts, on his curls, on his drives. It all kind of writes the story itself when you see Wemby floating out around there, 7'4" alien, taking three-pointers, tough mid-range jump shots, and not playing around the rim. It's unfortunate, but the Thunder are the champs, man, and I think that this makes a lot of sense. The result of them going up 3-2, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot for thinking the Spurs were ready for this moment on the road, game 5, going to take a 3-2 lead against the Thunder. I think I just thought the Thunder's injuries were going to be more impactful to them and cause a little bit of a bigger problem, but I was wrong.